Well, hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Legacy Farm, the podcast. This is your host, JC Young, and today's topic of discussion is this: boredom versus busy work. So last week, I read a quote that I think is relevant to all business owners, but especially farmers and ranchers. And here is the quote, reading it to you right now. You will do better work if you're bored instead of busy. Okay, I'm going to repeat that for you. You will do better work if you're bored instead of busy. Now, on this morning's community boardroom call, I sent that quote to the group prior to us all jumping on our call together and asked people to ponder on what they thought it meant and how it was relevant to them in their life. And then I brought some people on to actually have some discussions around it. Now, there were several different perspectives on this quote. And none of them were bad. They were all really good. Now, I have a specific perspective on the quote, which is what I'm going to share with you inside of this podcast. Now, when we think about bored work, being bored versus being busy, what are a majority of farmers and ranchers doing? Well, a majority of them are doing busy work, right? You wake up in the morning and you're conditioned the same way you have been the past decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, whatever. You get up, you put your boots on, and then you're just running rampant for the next 10, 12, 14 hours throughout the day, trying to get a bunch of different things done. But then at the end of the year, you feel like you're not gaining any ground, right? You're not moving anywhere. You're not actually getting to where you want to be or building a lifestyle that you want for yourself and your family. Now, that's not me just speaking about that out of theory. This is what hundreds of family farmers have said to us as they've come into our doors here at Legacy Farmer. Now, how do we solve this problem? That's what we talked about today, because a lot of our members, when they're coming in, we're helping them simplify and organize their entire business. You've heard me say this on other podcasts, but the primary reason that we're doing that is because right now, when they first come in, they're doing all the busy work. Right, they're swamped. They're holding every seat inside of their company and running every bit and they build centralized operations, right? Not decentralized operations. They built a centralized operations where anything that has to get done inside of the operation, it has to go through them or it doesn't happen. Well, that's a problem, because then what do you do when you want to take your family on a vacation for 3 days? Well, you can't leave the operation, right? This is where a lot of people are at. And this is why a lot of farmers and ranchers haven't taken vacations in years, some of them decades, right? So this is something that we're trying to solve. Now, how do we get this accomplished? Well, when they first come in, a lot of our members, they're stuck doing the busy work 24/7, day in and day out. And then we come in, we start helping them organize numbers. And one of the critical things that we take them through is accountability chart. So we start helping them outline all of the roles and responsibilities inside of their operation and just what is unique to their operation, because everybody's operation is different. Everybody's people that they have involved is different, which requires a custom accountability chart. And we help all of our members work through that step by step. Now, you need to understand the power of this accountability chart, because if you want freedom from your operation or just inside of your operation, you want more time and energy and wealth and freedom just to do what you want to do versus doing what you have to do, which is all the busy work to keep the thing going, then you have to have an accountability chart. You have to have these things laid out. You have to spend your time as a business owner really focusing on what are the roles and responsibilities for every person in every seat. Where are we missing roles and responsibilities? Where is somebody way overworked or just has way too many seats that they're trying to take care of and way too much going on and they're getting burnt out, right? So we have to start mapping these things out. Then you have to look at each individual seat and see, okay, do I have the training in place to actually bring somebody on and go and give them the best, chance of success inside of the seat? And then even before all that, my friend, we have to organize the numbers to see what we can afford, if we can even afford to hire somebody yet or anything like that. But you can't do that unless you know the numbers. A lot of the members, they talk about, what type of benefits do I offer or incentive plans or whatever. Well, what do the numbers say? What do the numbers in the operation say? Because you have to know that before you start making offers or whatever. And a lot of people, when they hire somebody, they're just blindly throwing out numbers. That's a recipe for disaster. Just plain and simple. So back to the point of today's discussion though, right? As you start to get things lined out inside of your operation, you start to get people hired and you start to get people in seats and you're removing more and more of your roles and responsibilities. The goal that I have for all of our members is that we help them get so many things in place and get their profitability lined out and create so much time and freedom for them inside of their operation that they actually become bored. They're no longer busy. They are literally bored. Now, there's 2 things that happen to a business owner when they're bored. The first thing, and what happens most often is definitely a bad thing, is boredom leads to burning it down. Okay. Boredom leads to burning it down. Okay. We get into the operation, we automate a lot of things, get people in seats and things like that. And all of a sudden we don't have anything to do. Well, boredom, when a man sets in boredom, he can very easily turn to, well, I'm going to burn some shit down right now so that I'm needed again, right? We see this all the time. Think through different people that you've met inside of your life or even yourself personally. I've done this in my businesses before. I know hundreds of other men that have done it in their businesses, and I'm talking men that are running multi-million dollar businesses, right? They burn stuff down. That way they're needed again or they have a problem to solve or whatever. And it's just ironic because as business owners, we bitch and complain a lot about the problems or challenges that we're dealing with, yet without them, we have no sense of purpose. It's kind of funny, right? So that's why I tell people not to take the journey too serious, because the reality is everything that you're complaining about right now, if you didn't have it, you'd complain about not having it, right? Not having the problem or the challenge and something to do to go solve. Now, like I said, though, we want to get our members to a place of boredom, but we don't want them to choose to burn it down, right? What boredom also frees up is a lot of mental energy for you to finally fully step into that CE role inside of your operation and your business and really focus on the vision of the company. Really focus on big things where you're leading your team, how you're changing your business, different sources of revenue that you can, create with your assets and resources and team that you have there, right? You're doing the bigger picture thinking there. Now, the difference is, though, there's a big difference between choosing something out of boredom versus choosing something out of being busy. Because when you're doing busy work, you're not really choosing that. It has to be done, right? When you go up and you got to check cattle or check fence or break ice or whatever, if it's during the winter, or go check these fields or whatever, if you're in the busy person role or the busy work role, like that stuff has to be done. You don't have a choice. You're not openly choosing that. Now, when you're bored though, and you have all the time in the world, whatever project you choose to take on, whatever task you choose to take on, you are consciously choosing to take on that task. Now, there's a huge difference there, though, right? Versus like, I'll relate it back to like kids, for example, right? There's a huge difference between a parent trying to make a kid do something versus the kid choosing itself, right? The kid is going to learn a lot more when they choose to do something themselves because they are interested in it. That time that they spend on it is going to be so much more valuable versus, hey, you have to go do this, or you need to get your reading done, or whatever it needs to be. So in that parenting and child example there. Now, as a business owner, though, it's the same principles apply. When I'm choosing to focus on the direction of Legacy Farmer, how many things we've added in throughout the years, and how much value and stuff that we're trying to add to our customers on a daily basis, none of that happens if I don't bring people in over the past 4 years to fulfill on these other roles, to handle some of the busy work so that I can focus on the big picture stuff, so that I can choose the projects that I want to invest my time, energy, and money into and really direct this business. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people, they'll guilt trip themselves if they're doing this because they're like, man, I need to be out with my team and doing all of the farming or working cattle or whatever. Yeah, I see that, right? But the thing is, though, is that you are more valuable to them and the stability of their livelihood, them getting a paycheck and supporting their family. You're more valuable to them when you are securing and putting together the plans for the future for the company, for the operation, because you're also game planning their future as well and what type of life they're going to be able to provide for their family. So are you more useful to them working next to them and checking cattle or whatever? Or are you more useful to them like mapping out the future for the operation and mapping out the future of their income, right? Their livelihood. Well, it's definitely the second one there. We know that. But a lot of people, they never get to that point because they don't go through everything I just talked about in the beginning of this episode. They don't know their numbers. They don't set up their accountability chart. So they don't know what they should focus on. They don't know how to get out of the hamster wheel that they're stuck on and have been stuck on for decades, right? Now, again, though, a lot of you guys that are just stuck in the busy work, you have to start taking action towards getting people lined up inside of the right spots inside of your operation. Now, you can say, Jace, well, I don't know how to do that, nor I'm just a one-person show. How do I even know if I can do that? Well, you got to know your numbers. You have to get the training and education to get your numbers in place. If that's Legacy Farmer, because that's what we do here, that's great. Awesome. That'll be great. But I don't care if it's Legacy Farmer or not. Find something. Find someone, find a mentor, find somebody that can help you learn how to know your numbers at a detailed level. So then you know who you can hire or bring onto your team, and then go map out your accountability chart. Map out all the things that you're doing inside of your operation and put them into individual seats so you can see clearly, hey, this is where I'm spending a lot of my time. This is the first seat. I need to get somebody brought in to take over. And as you start freeing up that busy work, you're going to start to slip into boredom. Boredom is the greatest opportunity for you to grow your company the most significant way, because now you have 100% focus on exactly what you're doing. It's like deep focus type of projects that you're now getting into, because you're no longer having to worry about going and checking cows or checking fields or farming or whatever, right? You get to focus 100% on the projects that you choose. The busy work, remember, you don't get to choose that. That has to get done. It has to get done. The stuff that you're focusing on when you're bored is stuff that you are consciously choosing to devote your time and energy to. And the results from that time and energy are going to be so much more than having to go do some busy work. Okay, so I share that with you, my friends. Hopefully it opens up some things for you. Hopefully you think through some things. But at the end of the day, like I said just a few minutes ago, go do something about it. Go make something happen. Go find somebody. Go invest in something. If it's Legacy Farmer, great, but just do something. Go find a mentor inside of your life or a program, whatever. Do something, because we all know the results that you're going to continue to get if you continue to sit on your ass and not do what needs to be done in order to create the life that you want for yourself and your family. So get to it, and we'll catch you on next week's episode. What's up, everyone? My name is Jace Young. I'm the founder of a company called Legacy Farmer, and inside of that company, what we do is we've helped over 300 family farms simplify and streamline the entire financial side of their operation and help them learn their numbers at a deep, deep level so that they can implement the systems and the processes to make sure that their operation lives on for generations into the future.